Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you haven't watched my first video, the introduction video, where I introduce myself, who I am, what I do, and what type of videos you can expect on this channel, then please go ahead and do so. But in a nutshell, my name is Norbert and my brand is StableYou. I'm a body and mind transformation coach with 20 years of experience. On this channel, within shorts, I will be posting fitness tips to build a healthy body. You can go ahead and check them out. I already have 10 videos within short section. And main videos will be all about the hardship I was going through growing up in Serbia. All those negative things, negative experiences happened to me. In more detail, I mentioned it in the introduction video. So these things, how I managed to turn into my advantage and build a winning mindset. So combining fitness and mindset gave me overall the healthy body and winning mindset, and I became stable, and that's why my brand StableYou come from. So in this video I want to talk about losing my mom, how losing my mom made me a fitness guy. In order to have a better understanding, I need to go back all the way to the beginning, or as far as I can remember as a kid. I hope you watch this video till the end, because I can promise you by the end you will understand how all these negative things and negative experience and losing your mother, you losing a loved one, I turned into my advantage and pursued fitness seriously and became a better person, a stronger person mentally. So I hope you watch till the end. And also, if at any point you find value in this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will appreciate greatly. I promise to post weekly. So let's go back to the beginning to have a better understanding what really happened, how I lost my mother, and how all this affected me and helped me in a way. As far as I can remember, as a kid, my mom was ill, and I know that you have to understand that we were very poor with no telephones, no mobile those times. Growing up in Serbia was very tough, former Yugoslavia, and every time my mother was ill and I was woken up in the middle of the night to go to one of the neighbors and knock on their door to ask if I can use their phone. So you can literally imagine going 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. knocking loudly on the door because people sleep at night, and waking up a neighbor and asking if they can call the ambulance or I can call the ambulance because my mother is ill. She has all kind of pain and I wasn't sure what is really happening as a kid. We're talking about, let's say, 10 years old, 11 years old. Probably this was happening earlier and everything, but I don't have much of a recollection. Obviously, the neighbor was calling the ambulance, which obviously a lot of times they didn't even come. But if they did come, it took them more than an hour to come. So, as they say, by the time the ambulance arrives, most of the times it's late. Unfortunately, that has a lot of truth behind. Either they are busy or they just, the way they select who they're gonna check out. Long story short, as you know, you are fearing that something gonna happen with your loved one. You are a kid, you don't really understand what is really happening. You are stressed, all you want just for your mother to get better. So it's an understatement to say that how much I was crying, It was more than that, it's above and beyond the fear because of not understanding what is happening. So when the ambulance came out, checked her out, usually they gave an injection to calm her or gave some type of tablets, some suggestion, and they were gone. So you wait 2 hours to have them for 5 minutes in your house. They're not taking her because hospitals are full. So fast forward, this was happening so many times that I stopped counting. And of course, we couldn't afford phones for a very long time. So we're talking about years of going through this at least 3-4 times a week. So that's one part of the story. Second part of it, my mother was on many medications, so I was going to get the prescription from a doctor, then go to the pharmacy and then get these pills. At the beginning, very beginning, you could get it for free because they were very essential, but then later on you had to pay as well. So you're already poor, but you're giving your last money for medication as well, which we didn't have much, so a lot of times she couldn't get her pills as well. We're talking about antidepressant, we're talking about some kind of tablet, epileptic, if like a beginning of epilepsy, but not a further stage, but kind of like a starting stage. Then something for her pain, stomach pain mainly, because that's what she was complaining more about it. And the big problem was that my mother couldn't eat properly. So if you can't eat, as we all know, obviously your condition will get worse and worse, because if you can't fuel your body cannot fight any illness. So always, guys, keep in mind that it's all about fueling quality, healthy food, high protein intake. Even if you're inactive, it's just essential. You must have high protein intake so the body can fight any illness. But on the other hand, we also didn't have money, so we were starving a lot. This will be a topic of another video, but long story short, we didn't have much money, so she couldn't eat much, and that was a problem. I had a stepfather who didn't care much. He will be also a topic of another video. So years gone by with this, she was taking medication, we were going back and forth with ambulance. Sometimes they came, sometimes they didn't even come anymore. You can imagine me being on the phone and they laughing at me, saying my mother is not really ill, it's mental problem, and you know, I'm crying, they make fun of me. As you can imagine, not the ideal feeling. As a kid, you're worried, you don't know what's really happening, and people are laughing on the other side of the phone. I guess most of the people are the bravest when they are behind the phone or keyboard. In person, they are very different. But yeah, it was hurting me, and obviously saying to my mother that the ambulance is not coming, and then being up all night, because you never know if it's the last night or what is happening. But as I got older, and this is very important, another part of this is that as I got older, I started to understand more and more what mental health is all about, and how much impact your faith in your recovery has, and the ability to feel better, get better, if you believe you will feel better and get better. So how big of a role your mindset plays in this story. So now we are fast forward after all these years of struggles and everything, and let's say we are at the stage of I'm 16, 17. We pretty much playing the same game of unfortunately calling ambulance often, but at this point we somehow have a telephone with a line, so I could call ambulance from home without waking up neighbors and pissing them off pretty much, even though they were extreme, especially one was extremely nice, and I owe her a great deal of gratitude, and never forget it. But still, you can't be waking up every second, third night. People in the middle of the night, they have their own lives, and then especially when the ambulance doesn't come, they start questioning as well what is really happening. So long story short, you know, we were known that the whole building knew that my mother was ill and had mental issues. And then there were times when the ambulance took her, but then, you know, they put her in the mental health section, because back in Serbia you have within the hospital a mental health section, like a psychotherapy section or sector. There obviously she was, so I was going there to see her, and as you can imagine, everyone is there for different reasons, but there were some people who were really even a worse condition, in my opinion, when it comes to mental health. So it was very hard to watch that and be there, and was weird being there in general. And I honestly, at that point, I thought my mother is going crazy or something, because everyone is saying and tests are showing that it's mainly a mental issue, a stress and mental issue. What you need to understand also, and I understood only later on, that when my mother finally told me that she went through a lot, and the way she was treated as a kid was very, very difficult, very tough. She was chained to a tree and beaten, whipped by her father. So when you go through things like this, it's very hard to, overcome and become normal and understand that it's all about staying strong, because we're not all on the same level, we don't have the same mindset, and that's okay and that's normal. It's all about the right guidance, which our parents should provide to us in most cases if they can. So this obviously affected her health, and also giving birth to me, apparently, because I was born with 5 kilos 10 grams. That's a pretty big baby. And then apparently I did some damage, because they had to use a vacuum machine to vacuum me out. She couldn't push me out completely because it was too big. So that apparently affected her as well, when it comes to lower stomach area. So as I was saying, this continued, going for prescriptions, waiting in queues of, literally, I'm not joking, sometimes 7-8 hours I was waiting in a queue to get the prescription, then another hour and a half in a pharmacy to get the pills to get home. But all this time my mother was really struggling without her pills. I believe she also became addicted to them, because, as you know, with anything else, if you take it long enough, you can become addicted, and you will become addicted. And that's for sure true for medication, more so than anything else, in my opinion. And then, so I was 16, 17, she was struggling big time, and this is the time when we part ways with my stepfather. He will be a topic of another video because of all the abusement he has done. But long story short, this is when he moved out finally. I was big enough and strong enough to make this happen, and smart enough above all. So my brother and I have an older brother who has also some stress issues. I'm going to talk about that in another video. As you can see, a lot to share. So I was supporting in a way of attention and what I could, 2 of them. My brother wasn't really working. He was getting some support from the government, deservingly, because all the documentation is there. And my mother was getting very little in Serbia. They don't really support much, so we took them very little money, very, very little, low amount. But I couldn't work much. I worked at this point beside my school when was school break, always on construction or wherever I could get a job. Usually it's construction because they don't hire you if you're under 18 anywhere else. So I was supporting. And then to move forward, this struggle was always present and affected me, because when I was in school or anywhere else, I constantly was thinking about what is happening with my mom, because she could have a good day and then suddenly just something happens and she's feeling bad and she needs me, or in the middle of the night you are sleeping, she starts screaming and you wake up and your heartbeat is probably 300. You are like, what just happened? And it takes time to even realize what is happening. So many times I hurt myself. I tripped on something because I'm just waking up, jumping out of the bed and aiming to get to the living room where she was. We lived in a 2-bedrooms flat that time. 2 bedrooms was the living room. So let's say 2.5. In 1 bedroom was my brother at that point. The other bedroom I was, once my stepfather moved out. But all those years I was with my stepfather in the same room, and my mother was with my brother in the same room. But then obviously when three of us left and my mother moved to a living room, we put a couch and she was there. So I'm waking up going there, what is happening, call the ambulance, she's feeling bad, but I already know calling them, they're gonna laugh at me, they're not gonna come, which is what happens. You're trying to convince them, you literally beg them, I was begging them, but they didn't come. And then all night you're not sleeping, and then at some point my mom falls asleep, and then and gets better a little bit. So it was always like that. You know, you don't know what's happening, but then she falls asleep, a little bit gets better, but then sometimes next day just continues, doesn't get better. And it was strange because sometimes really it just shows how mental health, how important your mindset is and how strong your mindset is. And if you don't believe in something or you don't try to believe, you're gonna feel better, because her blood pressure gone up to all the way to 260, 280. I learned how to measure blood pressure at a young age, of course, and everything. So it was like crazy. And at some point I remember I had to pick her up in hand, and I had some money. Don't know how old I was at this point, but I picked her up literally because the ambulance didn't come, carried her to the taxi station. So imagine carrying her like, I don't know, 15 minutes for sure. And then into taxi, get to the hospital. And then when they saw, they immediately had to give her injection through the veins because the blood pressure was 300. And this is the same time period, pretty much they didn't want to come out. So prove them wrong, not that they admit it, but it just shows that they don't necessarily care about you that much. And it broke my heart because all I was worried about, mother to feel better. So now moving forward, I'm about 20, close to 21, and it's time to go to army. I don't want to make this video too long, but I needed to explain to you guys how this was building up and the things were happening and that we didn't have money and all the struggles, so you have a better understanding to this next part. I'm about to turn 21 and I need to go to army. That time still was necessary. I was born 1987, so I was still falling into that last generation. And at first I chose to go to regular army, but then I realized I can't do that. First of all, I need to, because at that point before the army I worked 2 jobs already. 3 actually, a little bit of personal training already, and I did some factory work and I did security work as well. So I was like, if I go to the regular army, I won't be able to work. Obviously they were going to send me out somewhere and I won't be able to support my ill mother and brother. So what happened is I chose at last moment, 2 months before, 2 months prior that I need to go to the army, I changed it to civil army, which is longer one. It's actually not easier, it's harder because it's instead of 6 months, 9 months long, and they can send you anywhere to all kind of jobs no one wants to do. And you can't miss a day, it's literally work. You can't miss a day or they can jail you for a day as a punishment. So it's not easier, it's actually harder, but because they allow me to stay in the same city I was born in, and they put me in a hospital because I had I finished food technology in college, and that obviously, so they could use me in different spots like in a kitchen and cleaning stuff and everything, but mainly in the kitchen because of the qualification. I don't know why, because I was doing the worst job, so I'm not sure how the qualification has any effect, but they said. So in the meantime I could work security and make some money so I can pay for tablet, for pills and for medication and like food, which was a big struggle because you can't make much, because if they catch you that's against the law to work during that time. And also it's not much I can make because I'm bound to work on specific days and times in a hospital for the army, so I don't have much spare time. But it didn't help a little bit, so I could pay for medication for my mom. And yes, so this started to get worse and worse. My mother's situation, more and more often she was in a hospital, and I was already in the army, and I had this call from someone, from a doctor, calling the kitchen sector, and they say some woman is want to talk to me and they don't understand who, because the doctor couldn't understand, but apparently it was explained to me. The doctor said to come to see him on one of the floors, and it turned out my mother was there. She fell. I don't know where she was trying to go to, and she fell and she hit her head so badly that it was blood all over the floor of the entrance of our building, to the entrance of our building. And when I saw her, she was excuse me, she was full of blood, and she was saying something to the doctor, and the doctor asked her how she is, that she just wants peace. This is the first real time when I saw that she was losing it, and I was trying to calm her. I didn't know what's happening, but I was still in the army, so they were taking her home, and then I had, I believe, like $2 in my pocket or something, and I gave to the guys who were taking her, please don't let her hurt herself, lock the door and just put the key under the rug, so when I come I won't, so she doesn't need to stand up to close the door, lock the door, because I'm afraid by the time she gets back to her couch, to the living room, she's gonna fall again, and then no one is home, because I can't leave. It was serious in the army, and anyways, but she somehow didn't allow them, and she did manage to, which was good, but yeah. So I came home and I'm like, what happened? She can't really explain it, and then, it's getting worse, and she was taking the pills, and then now I suddenly hit me that what really mindset is all about, that how much, if you don't believe you're gonna recover, no one else can help you. No one can heal you if you don't believe. And I started to tell my mom at this point that you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be okay, just believe, I'm here with you, together we're gonna overcome this. But then she started to get worse and worse, to the point that she can't go to the toilet, so she poos and pees herself in a bath, so I'm cleaning it. We didn't even have a washing machine, because don't forget, I'm coming from very poor background. I'm still not able to fully engage and fully, do my best to fix things, because I'm in the army now. I only have a part-time job, very little pay. Serbian general salaries were rubbish, embarrassing, no matter how much you worked. And I did work 3 jobs and got promoted, and everything. It doesn't matter. It just was the value for money is disaster. You give so much value and you get very little in return. So long story short, I was washing by hand, and then I was washing her naked, obviously, in a bath. That was again something that I had to accept, and then that started actually a little bit earlier, at an earlier age, but this is when I was doing more frequently, even wiping her bum. She couldn't even wipe her bum at this point sometimes, and then this started to get worse and worse and worse, and I remember, to fast forward, I'm finished my 9 months with these struggles and everything, and I gone back straight away to the factory job, and also security full time. And then fast forward, what happened is one day I'm doing my security work in a city. I was working at different places, from disco clubs to journalist place to expensive car salons. And at this time I was where the journalists are on weekend, and the police is knocking, and I'm opening, and they say that I have an invitation to come to see a detective because I beaten my mother. And I'm like, the shock I had, I was like, I don't understand what is happening. I never beaten my mom. What is happening? And they said, you will find out. Obviously they're straight judging you. People straight, as soon as something is said about you, people judge without, but you're not guilty until you're found guilty, in my opinion. Not sure, but she fell again, and the ambulance took her to the hospital, and then I went to the hospital and to see how she's, all I care about, not even this invitation, I care about how she is. And then imagine I entered the room, and I'm talking to her, seeing how she's doing, and already people, other ladies in the room talking about, you can hear it, how they say in the background, now he feels guilty after he beat her, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm just hearing this. And there was a nurse as well doing her thing, and saying to my mom, asking her, what happened? Well, the police came and I beat you. Did I beat you? And she said she never said this. And I checked the card she has, and it also says the son beaten her with fists, and I feel embarrassed, I feel, I don't know, ashamed, but mainly disappointed actually at how could get to this level. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And she said she never said, and then I'm like, but this is, and then the nurse heard it and suggested to go to speak to the doctor, because obviously clearly she realized something is not right. And then I went to the doctor is also coming out from somewhere, and he says, you are the one, like you can see that how you engaged with me already, like, and it wasn't true, it never happened. This all happened is that I worked 3 jobs, and then she was falling so many times, and prior to this case, 1 week before, she fell again, and I woke me up, and I was nervous, and I picked her up quickly, but I didn't know at this stage that as she fell, she broke her rib, and I'm still sorry to this day that I picked her up quickly, but I didn't know, but that's all it happened. And probably she was explaining that maybe that I picked her up quickly, but I said you should have said that, and I picked you up quickly, and that's true. When you're dealing with something for 15 years, I have to be honest with you guys, one of my biggest regrets is that many times I said things I shouldn't. I wished her to die because I couldn't anymore handle this situation. I felt too much, felt that I can't be a kid ever, and growing up too fast, and also not saying to her I love her, because I always loved her, and I regret, but this thing never happens. And of course later on my brother also was asked to explain that it's not true, and she said as well as the detective obviously brought the case and said it's not valid, so of course it didn't happen. But that's when I realized that wow, I can end up in jail for something I didn't even do, or in court, whatever. And all I want just for my mother to be better, to feel better. And then now this brings me to the stage of how she died, and how all these things actually helped me to build a winning mindset, to use these negative trauma experiences to my advantage. On the day she died, it was 30th November 2008, I'll never forget, of course. I was of course working again, and my brother was home with her. And my brother just gave me a call while I was still working, approximately still 2 hours before I finished my shift. Usually 12-hour shift is security work. But this time again I was in the journalist place, which is from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. I think it was Saturday, yes, Saturday or Sunday. And my brother is calling me that he thinks my mom is dead, our mom is dead. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's not answering, she's not moving. Previous day, 1 day before, she was really struggling, she couldn't eat, she was snoring very strangely, but we were waking her, she woke up always and drank water. But it was some sign, I guess. And then he said he really thinks she's dead, and everything. I said, did you call the ambulance? He did. He begged them, they will come this time somehow, but he begged them for half an hour. And then they came quite quickly, actually 10 minutes. I told him to call me back, and they checked 3 times, and she really was dead. And I remember my friend visited me to that place because we had plans. Didn't know this was gonna happen, of course. Sometimes you want to be with a friend as well, if you can. And yeah, he called me back, and he said mom is dead, confirmed. And I remember just sitting down and I don't know, cry or in a way be happy, relieved that she, she's not gonna struggle anymore. Because I lost counting the sleepless nights. Like I had so much stress. We all lost, and you lose hope even if you have a strong mindset at some point. And I remember, waiting for my friend to come. Actually, excuse me, my replacement, the other security guy, take over the shift, and came a little bit earlier, and I told him I need to run, and then my friend and I were going home. And then here was she on the bed, dead. What I didn't know that when someone dies, they leave the person for, I believe, 3 hours or more before they take her to the place to freeze her. I didn't know this, so they left her, ambulance left her, and excuse me, and I remember kneeling down beside her and seeing her chest moving, because the other thing I learned as well, that the nerve's still working, so it seems like she's breathing in and out, but actually it's not, the nerve's still working. But it tricked me and then shocked me, and suddenly I had hopes that she's alive. I remember telling my brother and my friend who was there, that she's alive, please check when I'm hallucinating. And they saw it as well, but it was nerve, because I checked her pulse and there's no heartbeat, no nothing. And I remember breaking down, crying and wishing that I never said anything bad. I never wished for her to die, and because in that moment when it's confirmed, you don't care about all those struggles. You don't care about what you had to handle, what you have to go through. All you want her back. You want to hold her. You want her to talk to you, to smile at you. All you care about is this. And but it didn't happen that way. And I remember crying, and it hit me suddenly that I at that point I was training here and there, but I didn't really have money for the gym as well during the army stuff and the service. And at that point I remembered that all this I have seen, I have experienced, all this what broke her, took her, beat her, all this was because of her mindset, because of not working on herself, because of not trying to believe in herself, because of not taking action. And at that time, on that day, in that moment, I promised to myself, I will pursue fitness, I will be healthy, I will put health above all, I will educate myself, I will work on my mindset, I will learn from bad experiences, and most importantly, I will make you proud, Mom, showing you that I will not give up, that I will live for two of us. I will learn, I will become better, stronger, and I will help others to do the same. And with this, I can make you proud. With this, I can have purpose. With this, I can become better, stronger, healthier, and change the outcome. And I remember kneeling there, and it was clear, very clear to me, very strong. It's like a voice was talking to me that one day you will look back to this and we'll be able to talk about this, we'll be able to share this, to motivate other people like I'm doing right now. And my true hope is with this video to motivate you guys, to show you that all this negativity, trauma and bad experience I used and made me become stronger, better, gave me purpose, helped me pursue a true passion, which became fitness. I helped hundreds of people since then, if not thousands. I changed my life. I changed poverty. I'm the healthiest I ever been. I'm the strongest I ever been. I'm the most energetic I ever been, and I'm the most positive I ever been. And I understand that only with a healthy body and winning mindset you can truly become stable, and you can become stable you. And this is something to be proud of. And I believe it's a true skill to use a negative trauma experience and turn into your advantage to fuel your progression, to fuel your progress throughout your life, and to give you a true purpose. And when my mother died, I remember when the funeral came, just to finish this off, when we were putting her in the ground, I lost it even further, because I knew she's gone. But every single day from that day on, I never ever one day passed by without me trying to make her proud, without me remembering that what my purpose is, without me making sure that I always work on myself and believe in myself, so I can have a different life, and my outcome of my life can be different, and the ending of my life can be different. So the huge lesson, guys, of this story is that we will go through things in life, things we can't control, things we can't choose, and it will affect us. But what actions we take, how we see it, how we use this experience is up to us. And trust me when I tell you that you never forget the day you lose someone. But if you fuel that loss to motivate others, if you fuel that if that loss can fuel your life, and you can use that to your advantage, and you can live your life accordingly and take the right actions, then I believe that somehow your loved ones is always with you, watching over you, and sees what you're doing, and will be proud of you. I'm sorry this video got a bit long, but I really wanted to give you more details, and I hope you guys understand that everything has every bad has a good in it as well. And I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It would mean a great deal to me, and I would really appreciate it. I promise to post every week. I hope you liked the video, and thank you guys for watching it, and I see you in the next one, which will be I will talk about in the next video about how I was physically abused by my stepfather for 15 years, and how that experience made me stronger and helped my decisions in the future. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I see you in the next one.